Hello and welcome to Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. Today, our special guest is Laurie Oswald, Chief Commercial Officer at C&D Trojan. Welcome, Laurie. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing really good, and I'm really interested in what's happening over there at Trojan.
Yeah, so thanks for asking. So Trojan has been around now for 100 years. So if you think about that and the impact that that has had on our industry, so we are a 100-year-old battery company headquartered in the US, and we make batteries for motive applications like LSEVs, golf carts, think aerial work platforms.
What was that, LSEV? What does that stand for?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, low-speed electric vehicles.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so like personal transportation vehicles, so utility vehicles and golf carts.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember people were making electric vehicles before you could buy like a mainstream one, even back into I think 1990 and that kind of era. And they were using like Trojan batteries and things like that. In fact, I know somebody that's named Scott Cornell, and he has this Carmen Ghia that's totally tricked out that has lead acid batteries in it. And his bumper sticker says, "I've been driving EVs since Elon was 10.
I love that. Having just celebrated our 100 years, I was in Santa Fe Springs, California recently, where we had the Autoette. It was really the first golf cart. So Trojan made the first golf cart battery. And I got into this Autoette, which is a really cool sort of joystick-driven golf cart, so a flash from the past. But yeah, those are the kinds of batteries we make. We also make batteries for solar applications. And as you've pointed out, we have multiple chemistries. So we are the global market leader in lead acid technology, but we also have AGM solutions. And now recently with some of the transition to lithium-ion solutions, Trojan does offer lithium-ion solutions for those applications as well.
I know people that take really good care of their Trojan lead acid batteries, make them last over 20 years. So do you think that there's anybody that got a set 100 years ago and now they're on their fifth set of batteries?
Well, I can tell you that the brand loyalty with Trojan is one of the highest of any industries that I've ever worked in. So you can tell a Trojan battery by the iconic maroon color. So from a preference and a brand perspective, it's very, very strong. So no, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, and I have plenty of friends that have Trojan L16 batteries. I think that's just the popular one that people used. And they haven't upgraded to lithium-ion because they really like their batteries and they just replace them, after 15 or 20 years, depending on how good they take care of their batteries.
That's so true. And Sean, you mentioned a really important point, which is maintenance of the lead acid battery is critical to life. But if they're well maintained, they're a very reliable solution. In fact, lead acid batteries are one of the most recycled consumer products on the planet. So they're very sustainable as well. There are reasons customers choose lithium-ion solutions for their application. One would be maintenance-free, but we also have AGM solutions that are maintenance-free as well. So what we really try to do is we look at the customer's application. So, what's the vehicle that the battery is going in? What's the application that it will serve? And we really try to serve as a trusted advisor because we make all those batteries, right? We can get you into a lead acid solution to meet your requirements or lithium-ion solution, depending on your specific needs, how long you intend to have the equipment, that kind of thing. Some competitors who only make lithium-ion, sure, they're going to push lithium-ion because that's all they make. Same with other lead acid only competitors.
Mm-hmm. So what percentage of your business is lead acid these days?
So it's a really complex question because if you look at the adoption of lithium, it's very different regionally. It's also different aftermarket to OEM, right? So Trojan services all regions globally. We are a global manufacturer, and we do have commercial support teams in every region of the world to sell and support Trojan solutions. But we also service the aftermarket. So think replacement market through distributors, through golf dealers, etc. And we sell directly to the original equipment manufacturers. So the folks that are building the golf carts or the scissor lifts or the floor care machine. And lithium adoption has really been very different in all of those markets. So we saw some acceleration of lithium primarily in the golf segment, which started at the OEMs, and now we're starting to see it into the aftermarket as well. But I would say that's more so the case in North America, where in other regions of the world, we haven't seen strong adoption of lithium yet.
So how's it going with the lithium-ion business then?
Well, I think what's really cool about Trojan is we're a 100-year-old battery company, right? But we are innovating on the lithium-ion side of our business at a rate and pace that really is unprecedented. So we're introducing new solutions to our portfolio. So we launched a GC2 sort of direct lead acid battery for golf cart replacement applications. We've brought to market a single unit solution called the Trojan Lithium 1-Pack. And we have an extended range version of that. We have a high performance version of that. And now we're bringing to market all sorts of other, voltages and accessories to support many different applications. So I think that's what's so exciting about what Trojan is doing in the lithium ion space, just keeping in mind that it just becomes part of our broader portfolio and offering for our customers.
Yeah, and I know with lead acid batteries, you just have some chemicals in there and some terminals, and you don't really have much in the way of electronics or anything like that, maybe some exceptions. But with lithium ion batteries, you have to have protective circuits, battery management systems, and all that. And then they operate at slightly different voltages, like you can't float charge a lithium ion battery. And do you have solutions, or do you recommend people getting lithium-ion batteries to swap out for lead acid? I know that's kind of difficult.
So yes, there are times where some customers will switch from lead acid to lithium and from lithium-ion to lead acid. I think one of the key things to keep in mind is they are different technologies and they have different charging profiles. And so, you need to change out your charger and think about, the conversion. But we've got partners around the world and dealers and distributors who are well adept at helping customers not only choose the right solution, but make sure that they know how to fully maintain or utilize that solution for the life of the vehicle and of the battery, really. One of the things that we've been doing at C&D Trojan is really innovating how we bring new technologies to market. So we are driving a very customer-centric product development roadmap, an innovation path, which really starts with getting direct customer feedback. So that's something that I'm really proud of, right? When you think about the market leader in lead acid technology and how we truly continue to value and require input directly from customers that inform our roadmap. So with all of this innovation, Sean, that we've been talking about, I'm really excited about the fact that it's technology that our customers want and need, and we're helping to bring those solutions to market. Probably the biggest thing that I'm excited about is the transformation that we're making on the commercial side of our business to support that. So one of the changes, and you've probably seen it in your area as well, is just the impact of technology and digitization. And, what we're doing at Trojan is transforming our entire organization to leverage digital tools. Like, for example, we just brought to market the first Trojan business-to-business e-commerce platform, right? Which allows our customers to purchase directly with us digitally through our platform. That is an innovation that we would not have seen in this company, even 5 years ago. So very exciting transformation.
So people are buying direct rather than through a distributor.
The vast majority of our sales go through distributors. This is just a way for those distributors to engage with us, right? Dealers and distributors to engage with us. And it gives us the opportunity to then engage with them on updates, new product launches, right? Because they have the ability to opt in. So it's just a way of digitally keeping up with the requirements of our customer and sharing all the good news about Trojan. The other thing we're doing from a digital perspective is we're leveraging tools like AI to help us with some of our commercial transformation, which is really exciting.
Great. And so people that are using your batteries, are they using them more for replacements or newer systems or all of the above?
That's a really good question. So we service both sides of the market. So from a replacement perspective, we sell through channels like our distributors to rental companies. We also have a very strong retail presence through our distributors and customers as well. But we have a team that focuses specifically on OEMs. So we're working really closely with the OEM manufacturers to bring those solutions to market and making sure that we understand, what's the next generation of equipment that they're building so that we can ensure that our technology supporting that equipment is optimized to give them the performance and experience that they're looking for their customers. So from a go-to-market perspective, I have teams that are strictly focused on aftermarket and teams that are focused on OEM. It's important to note too, Sean, that Trojan Battery Company is owned by C&D Technologies. So C&D Technologies makes batteries for stationary applications. So think data center, telecoms, utilities, those kinds of things. So it's really awesome because I get the opportunity to lead the commercial effort of two very different companies with two very different go-to-market strategies to different applications, customer sets, etc. So on the stationary side, it's kind of similar to Motive in that we do replacement business, but we also do new build or construction projects for data centers, utilities, and telecoms.
And the relationship with Trojan and C&D, when did that begin? I remember back in the day, it was Trojan that we were dealing with.
Yeah, so Trojan Battery Company was a family-owned company, right, that started a long time ago, that was acquired by C&D in 2019. It's really kind of awesome to me, Sean, that you asked the question because, Trojan has such a rich heritage of over a century. And I feel like even though we're now part of a bigger company, it still feels, especially for our employees, that it's that close family type of environment. And so it almost feels maybe it was seamless to you in terms of the acquisition. But the benefit of the acquisition is that we are able to take innovation on one side of our business and leverage that into other sides of our business. I'll give you an example. We recently introduced the Trojan AES battery. It's an AGM lead acid battery that provides 3 times the life cycle of other competitive solutions, other competitive AGM solutions. And we developed that technology by leveraging a product and solution that was on the C&D side of the house to bring to market a really high-performing AGM solution into the Trojan portfolio.
Great. And I know in the National Electrical Code, there's 2 different articles that we use for, batteries, energy storage. And so there's Article 706, which is a couple of code cycles old. It's rather new. And that's called energy storage systems. Then there's Article 480, and it was changed. And at first it was storage batteries, like we used to say for 100 years probably, or something like that. And then it was changed to stationary standby batteries. And we kind of think of it in terms of the lead acid batteries are probably more often used with Article 480, and they're very easy to float charge. And it doesn't take a lot of brains and electronics, and it's not dangerous, as much as like dealing with lithium-ion batteries, overcharging them. You have to have lots of equipment, electronics, temperature sensors, and things like that. So there are some benefits for like a uninterruptible power supplies and things that they'll use it, maybe cell phone towers and things like that, is they'll use lead acid batteries because they can just give them a float charge. Just like when you're driving around in your car, there's that lead acid battery. Even my electric vehicle has one. They call it the auxiliary battery. And it's just real easy to top off. And it just like when you're driving, there's something that's charging that battery. And it can take like a slight overcharge, and it's good for the battery. If you do that same thing, a slight overcharge for a lithium-ion battery, it's bad for the battery.
One thing to keep in mind is really there's been a lot of discussion around not only the performance of lead acid batteries versus lithium ion, the maintenance of lead versus lib, and the tolerances. So you mentioned some of the environmental tolerances and conditions in which one solution is optimized over another. The discussion around safety has been probably of all of those things, the most talked about element of lithium ion batteries, right? So our batteries use LFP, which is very stable and safe. But the reality is lots of discussions around that. And so as a result, you see various applications deploying lithium sort of in an accelerated fashion, and other segments of our market who have really standardized and continue to standardize on lead acid because it's trustworthy, it's reliable, it's a chemistry they've deployed in their application for years, and they know how it's going to operate. So I'll give you an example. In the stationary segment of our business, where we sell to C&D batteries into data centers and into telecom applications, we've seen a shift in the data center side in new build data centers. So new data centers that are coming online, we've seen some of those data centers migrate to lithium ion solutions because you can design the data center around the lithium ion batteries in terms of making sure that it meets all code requirements, et cetera. For replacement batteries in data centers, it's typically, if it's lead acid, they'll stay in lead acid because the construction of the data center, the cabinets are optimized for that technology. And so they very rarely switch. On the telecom side of the business, and it does vary regionally for some customers, but we haven't seen a strong adoption yet of lithium ion technology. And I think the reason is because you've got different environmental concerns with telecom deployments. And so it really depends on the application that's going to really drive customers towards, which chemistry to use. But safety is one of the most talked about feature between the two.
We interrupt you for a very important announcement. Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast has been brought to you by Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. That's right, Sean White is sponsoring his own podcast, and he wants to remind you to go check out some of his classes. You can go to SolarSEAN, that's Solar, SEAN.com, and then click on the links to check out his classes. You can check out his heat spring classes, and you can also hire him to teach classes for you, like at your company, something like that. Now back to the show. So have you ever heard of Haines, Alaska? I used to live in Haines, Alaska, and it's an off-grid community, and probably half the people in this place that I was living in, it was called Mud Bay, have Trojan batteries. And I think that they're still just using them because another big benefit of lead acid batteries with these Trojan L16s that people are so fond of is they work really well where it's cold.
They do.
Like lithium ion batteries, it gets below freezing, you have to heat them up.
Yeah.
Like our electric vehicles have heaters in them and coolers.
I agree. So, some customers want a maintenance-free solution, right? But in those cold environments, our AGM solution, the Trojan AES, may be a better solution than lithium. In fact, more often than not, it is because it operates in extreme temperatures, right? And you don't have those constraints that you would in either high or low temperatures operating conditions for lithium ion. So I'm assuming that was for solar applications or backup power?
Yeah, so the people living there, they're off-grid.
Okay.
And it's southern Alaska, so we don't go through, 100% dark days or anything like that there.
Uh-huh.
And some of the people, maybe like a third of them, also have a wind turbine or maybe a generator or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of them have a generator just for extra loads when it's, cold in the winter and they want to run their table saw or something like that. My brother still lives up there. And so it was just for living. People can just live off of the grid.
That's so cool. So
in Alaska,
in the Dominican Republic and in Haiti, so I was there not too long ago, many people who live in those countries have Trojan batteries for backup power because there's a lot of grid instability in those countries. And so the brand that Trojan has is so strong that, the people that I met there using the batteries, they all call it La Roja, the red.
Oh, the red battery.
In Spanish, right? Yeah, because we call it maroon. They call it La Roja. But, the fact that they're just so, I guess, committed to the quality of Trojan, these people rely on those batteries in the most critical times where they need power the most. And so they trust Trojan. So I love hearing those stories. And I love when I see customers who are passionate about the technology and the brand, because we've spent the last 100 years building that and really trying to be, the best company to support our customers that we can. So those are awesome stories.
I wonder what that battery looked like, the first one or first set of batteries 100 years ago, if it was like, instead of being in a plastic case, was it in wood or something like that?
That would be interesting to see, even going back 20 years in our portfolio, if I look back at some of our products, even if the product hasn't changed, the upgraded graphics on the label, it's really interesting to see, sort of the evolution of the aesthetics around those products.
Yeah. Well, I know that you have some very diehard followers amongst the off-grid community, and I don't think they're going to go anywhere anytime soon. This one house that I was at a couple of years ago over in Alaska, they had 25-year-old batteries that were going pretty strong. They would just keep them topped off all the time, pretty much. They were mostly going from 100% to 90% state of charge. Yeah. And then they would just top it off every day with their generator. And they had certain cells that they had pet names for that would, they'd have to add more water to, which might have had to do with just like a bad connection to the terminal makes it a little bit hotter. And then they do equalization of the batteries, which is a controlled overcharge. And we talk about maintenance and maintenance free. And at first you might think maintenance free sounds better, but if you do maintenance on it, you could extend its life, which is kind of a good thing.
Absolutely.
Like I'm a maintenance person and I'll go to the doctor and save my life so I could live to be 100 instead of dying of something when I'm 80, which, would happen to a lot of people.
Yeah. You know what? You're absolutely right. Because when the maintenance, quote unquote, maintenance required for a lead acid battery isn't a lot, and it does extend the life. I mean, it's proven reliable technology. We have some, in fact, I just talked to a customer recently, a telecom customer who's had the same batteries in their application for 25 years. I mean, that is just incredible when you think about it.
Yeah.
So we're really proud of, the Trojan quality and the life that we're able to extend due to that quality.
Well, great, Laurie. Well, thanks for talking to me on the podcast. And where do you want people to go to find you? So
best place to find me would be on LinkedIn. So my name is Laurie Oswald, LaurieOswald. Please connect with me. And I look forward, Sean, to future podcasts that you publish. So thank you so much for having me today.
All right. Thanks so much, Laurie, for being on the podcast. And we'll put all that information in the show notes. And thanks for listening. To learn more, go to SolarSEAN.com. That's SolarSEAN.com. And while we're talking about it, get yourself NABCEP certified. There's a NABCEP Energy Storage Installation Professional Certification, the ESIP. And you can take my ESIP exam prep class, like most people that have the ESIP have taken that class, and get yourself NABCEP certified with the latest energy storage application. And I hope Laurie doesn't mind that I did take some screenshots from Trojan and I have them in my class.
So, that's awesome. Thank you.
Great.
That's great.
All right. Thanks a lot, Laurie.